Her heart pounded as the sun began to set. She came back home angry, confused, and scared. How can you be this calm? She screamed. And then he stood, walked towards the freezer, and opened it slowly. Come, he said. See where they are playing. And at first, she thought he was joking. But what she saw would haunt her for the rest of her life. This isn't a fiction nor a movie. It's the terrifying true story of a father who poisoned his own children and stored them in a freezer like leftovers. A freezer, three kids, one man with a twisted plan. Nobody saw it coming, not the neighbors, not even his own wife. He smiled while the unthinkable hid just a few steps away. What drives a man to turn against his own blood? This story isn't just tragic, it's a warning. Pay close attention because the signs are always there. Why did he do it? What drove him to such darkness? And could it have been prevented? Stay with me. In a modest Nigerian neighborhood, it was a quiet afternoon. A woman returned home from the market, bags of tomatoes in hand, expecting laughter, noise, and the familiar chaos of children running to greet her. But that day, there was only silence, dead silence. And sitting in the shade was her husband, Mr. John, sewing a torn pair of trousers, too calm and too quiet. She thought the kids were playing hide and seek, but the truth was much colder. She had seen changes in him, subtle at first, a distant look in his eyes, a cold tone in his voice. He had returned from working abroad a few years ago, but something was missing. Something dark had followed him home. They used to be a happy family. She sold tomatoes at the market while he stayed home, supposedly looking for work. Their children, their bright little girls, filled the home with life. But over time, his resentment brewed. He stopped contributing, he stopped smiling, and he stopped talking. And then came the accusations, quiet, baseless whispers about infidelity. She thought they were just words, but words, when ignored, sometimes grow teeth. One afternoon, he brought home an old freezer that didn't work properly. The door didn't close right. She asked why he brought it home or if he had plans to sell it. But he shrugged it off. Just for now, he said. 2 days later, she left early for the market with her youngest boy. But before she left, she made sure there was enough food and enough instructions and enough love left behind. But she returned home to silence. No laughter, no running feet, just him stitching his trousers like nothing had happened. Where are the children? She asked. He looked up, calm, and said, I don't know. And then the search began. She combed the neighborhood, called out their names, but no one had seen them. Her heart pounded as the sun began to set. She came back home angry, confused, and scared. How can you be this calm? She screamed. And then he stood, walked towards the freezer, and opened it slowly. Come, he said. See where they are playing. And at first, she thought he was joking. But what she saw would haunt her for the rest of her life. Three small bodies, stiff, motionless, stacked on each other, their mouths stained. She screamed. Neighbors rushed in. Her knees buckled before she even reached the freezer. Inside, Three little bodies, limbs twisted together. Her eldest was on top, arms coiled around the others, as though trying to protect them from whatever horror had visited them last. Black liquid stained their mouths. She touched them, cold. They were lifeless. She screamed again, but this time the neighbors came running. But he didn't run. He didn't cry. He just stood there as she collapsed beside the freezer. Her neighbors bundled the children into a car, but the hospital gave her no hope. They were all gone. All of them. The police came and asked her who she suspected, and her answer was immediate. He did it. He told me he would one day, and he did. He has taken everything from me, she said. They arrested him, but even as he was led away, he turned to her and said, "Now you know how it feels to lose everything." But why? Why had Mr. John taken the lives of his own children? Everyone wanted to know why. There was no financial hardship, as she was the breadwinner, and even at that, he had money, or at least he used to. Something about that trip abroad had ruined him. He had lost his job, came back with an anger he never explained. He became cold, distant, jealous. He even accused her of cheating because she laughed too loudly with the tomato sellers, or because she dressed too well, or because she smiled without him. The man the villagers once praised had become a ghost of himself. He stopped working, he stopped parenting, he started threatening. One day he once told her, "You will wake up and wish you had listened." Her family had told her to endure, that he was still her husband. His family said he was only joking when he had threatened her. She wanted to leave, but he wouldn't let her go with the children. So she stayed, not out of love, but out of fear. And now, all that fear had frozen into reality. Sometimes, evil doesn't knock. It lives in the room beside you, eats your food, and sleeps in your bed, and hides its plans behind stitched trousers and broken freezers. He didn't scream, he didn't beat, he simply waited and then took everything in one calculated moment. If there's anything to learn from this story, it is this: never ignore repeated threats. Never assume silence means peace. And never leave your light in the hands of someone who has already turned dark. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next one.